Life is dull, it's nothing but one big lull. Then presto, you do a skull and find that you're reeling. She sighs and you're feeling like the toy on a string. And your heart goes ring-a-ding-ding, ring-a-ding-ding, ring-a-ding-ding.
Hands. Legs, so many legs. Here's a question. If you had to choose between dealing with an infestation of maybe 24 giant ants or hundreds of tiny ants, which would you go for? Now, obviously, they're both bad, but at least with the small ones, you can set off a bomb and go for splash damage. And judging by all these craters, I think the boomers have been practicing for that. Alternatively, this is another example of why you shouldn't mix alcohol with explosives. Christ, how many times does something like that have to happen before they figure out there's a correlation? I hope they at least have the common sense to repair the runway before they attempt to take off with that bomber. If these oversized potholes rip off the landing gear, then that plane is going nowhere. Well, there goes Miss Sourpuss. I understand this whole evening isn't doing well for her ego, but we were just trying to get here in one piece. It's not our fault we're amazing. Hey, Lady Firestorm, you have a minute to talk, or are you too busy throwing up because of my alleged savagery? Yeah, that's right, I don't even need you to say it. Let's just get that part out of the way right now. I can wait all night.
I see the power's back on. The ants are all dead?
Straight to the point? Ha! I didn't think that worked. Yes, it's all clear. I didn't bother cleaning up the mess though. That wasn't and never will be part of my job description. But yeah, that weapon kind of caused the ants' heads to burst, and there's bits of them everywhere all over the walls, and you don't want me to keep talking about that.
Maybe Pearl is right about you, because I don't know how you pulled that off. I'll tell Loyal to send someone down to clear out the eggs and repair the generators. Good work.
Well, I hope that poor sucker has a strong stomach, because I didn't even tell you about the smell. Oh, man. Okay, admit it. Saying good work to an outsider like me was like pulling out teeth for you, wasn't it? Well, get used to that, sister. You haven't seen half of what I'm capable of yet. And not to be judgmental, but you need to do something about that
What is it, outsider?
Attitude of yours. You weren't even listening, were you? God damn it, woman, if anyone makes it to the gates, then you're the first boomer they'll be talking to. That makes you a representative. The least you could do is pay attention. Is there anything else you need me to take care of, or are you done with your coffee break now?
The next time you leave Nellis, keep an eye out for missiles. We're down to a 5-year supply for our launchers.
Oh, fabulous! Another stranger wants me to do more courier work. I can't even be bothered to be annoyed by this anymore. Well, maybe you wouldn't be having this shortage problem if you didn't open fire on anything that moved.
Come find me when you've got some to turn in.
Wow, that just went straight through one ear and came out the other, didn't it? Well, fine then, take these off my hands. I didn't want to carry them anyway.
How many?
3. Do I look like a pack Brahmin to you?
It's better than nothing.
Better than nothing? Oh, that's it. I'm not doing any more favors for you. Anyone else on this base I can live with, but you can go fuck yourself.
Bye.
Wow, I'm honestly impressed. There was me thinking we can come to some kind of understanding, but you're not even trying to hide your resentment, are you? I hope to God you're not going to be around the negotiating table with the NCR. Crocker's going to have a hell of a time dealing with you. Come on, Rex, let's get going. Unless you have a translator module, you probably didn't understand any of that, which is good. Unlike Eddie, you're not going to lecture me about shit. That's what I want to hear. Now let's get out of here before that woman realizes I just gave her the same missiles I took from that generator room. Seriously though, Rex, I never go around to setting some rules with you. I'm not expecting much. I mean, you are a dog, after all. But don't provoke the robot, understand? I'm trying to convince him to coexist with you, so the last thing I need is complications from your end. So that means no barking, biting, or marking your territory on him. Now don't be like that. You can do that on anyone else we come across, especially if we end up shooting them. But stay off the robot. I'm not gonna tell you this a second time. It's for your own good as well. Eddie does have a laser. Don't say I didn't warn you. I do not want to explain the laser burn marks to the king. That would make for a very awkward conversation. Holy shit, is that a bomber? Or at least pieces of a bomber. Oh, look at the size of that thing. It's not even rusty. Fuck me, that means they can scavenge both this one and the one in the lake to make a working plane if they have to. Again, I don't know whether I should be amazed or terrified by that possibility. Seriously, if they could get this thing to work, that would effectively give these guys a super weapon. I don't know if anyone out there have a working anti-aircraft weapon. I mean, why would they bother to maintain one even if they do? God, this can change everything. Crocker would shit himself if he knew about this. I'm tempted to let him find out for himself. He's gonna need heart medication after that if he doesn't already. Forget the Legion, even House is gonna think twice about messing with the boomers. Were you two listening to all that? I can smell the smugness from a mile off.
Whatever you're selling, we have plenty.
Yeah, no shit. Other than common sense, you guys are pretty well covered here.
Hello, outsider. Need something?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind asking for a power tool. There's a couple of modifications I would like to make to your bomber over there. Who am I kidding? You probably rigged it with a dozen mines by now. Anyways, my industrious tech expert is done repairing those panels. Hell, she even improved them, apparently. So, in your face!
An impressive piece of work. I'll keep that in mind if jobs come up in the future.
Yeah, sure. You say that, but if you're anything like the head of security around here, then I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking how to take credit for yourself. Well, I made sure Veronica carved her initials on her handiwork, so have fun erasing the proof.
Later.
And then you end the conversation when I call you out. I'm starting to see a pattern here, and I don't like it one bit. Just because you have a bomber doesn't mean shit to me. I can still find a way to get the respect I deserve around here.
Watch your steps, sister.
Excuse me? Are you next in line for getting wasted near explosives, or are you trying to insult me? Well, keep going then, see what happens.
So you're the outsider. Lived your whole life out there, huh? Wow. I always thought you savages probably spoke a different language. But I hear you sound like us.
Wow, you retracted your statement real quick there, didn't you? That's very smart. Give yourself a medal. So what are you supposed to be, the assistant grease monkey?
Me? I work with Loyal. Mostly electronics work and robotics. Keeping the old technologies alive, right?
I don't know. Considering how you are at least partially responsible for nearly blowing me to smithereens, you might want to think about retracting that statement as well. Or perhaps you'll try and push the blame on the old man over there. What's it gonna be?
Loyal's a great man, but he's getting on in years. So a younger's gotta learn everything he knows. That'd be me. The man knows how to fix and build just about everything that was ever made. It's not easy keeping up with him.
Well, at least you're honest. So, this would be the part where you ask me to do a favor or two, and then I tell you to go fuck yourself, and yet I end up helping anyway. It's a strange way of living, I know.
What I could use is some scrap metal. It may not sound exciting, but around here we have to recycle every rivet and plate. The other thing, you being from the outside and all, well, I guess you'd call it a personal matter, but, well, forget it.
Forget what? Look, if you want me to do something for no reward, at least let me know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not gonna make the effort if you have no enthusiasm in the first place. So, if you have something on your mind, do what people outside those fences do and say it like you mean it.
That must be nice. Sharing yourself like that. Not being embarrassed or anything. Well, the thing is, there's this girl.
Oh, how did I fucking guess? Well, I can already tell your mentor over there is sick to his teeth hearing this story. So go on then, tell me what she's like. Let's see how quickly I can lose my patience over this.
Oh, you can't miss her. She has short red hair and she's the most beautiful woman who ever lived. You'd really talk to her for me? What if she feels the same way? What if she comes here like you did? What if she gets blown up? What if she doesn't like me?
Oh, for God's sake!
Oh, jeez. I better just let you handle it. I'm better with machines. They don't make my stomach queasy like this.
Wow, isn't this romantic? Play your cards right and this little relationship might last, 3 days at least. And I can only assume you haven't talked to Mother Pearl about this. Give me strength, I have to deal with that part as well. You better appreciate this.
That would be amazing. As in, I would thank you forever.
Yeah, and that's gonna be worth jack shit. Using a middleman for this sort of thing is only gonna make you look weak, by the way. I hope you realize that. The things I do to earn favors around here. If this doesn't pay off, then I might just have to silence both of you. I swear to God, I have a reputation to uphold. The only dating service I'm willing to perform is to create a beautiful union between a legionary and a recently fired bullet. Now that's a match made in heaven. Come on, Rex, let's get out of here. I am so glad the others didn't see any of that. I would never hear the end of it, especially from Cass. She would have a field day with this. Okay, let's go through the list. We've helped out with the ad problem, fixed the solar panels, and sat through the most ridiculous history lesson ever told by a 10-year-old child. That just leaves the good old doctor. Oh boy, I can't wait for this. First, he doesn't give us decent treatment, and now we're supposed to help him? Somebody is living in a fantasy world, and it's not me. The only reason I'm putting myself through this is to make Pearl see me as a friend. It's not even about Crocker anymore. If these guys really do manage to get that bomber working, then I want to make sure they never consider bombing us. And if I play my cards right, I might even get to suggest a few potential targets. I mean, they're not gonna know any better, so why not make something useful out of this? I bet Benny never considered that possibility. Okay, let's get this over with. Well, hello, Dr. Argyle, if you even deserve that title. How are you holding up? Well, judging by the atmosphere, I can only assume you're not too busy. Then again, this is how you acted when I needed help earlier, so what the hell?
Evening.
Just chilling, are we? Don't need any help? Well, this is gonna make things easier.
I know Mother Pearl is letting you wander Nellis as you please, outsider, but I have patients to tend to.
Do you really? Because you certainly don't look like you're in a hurry. I'm starting to think you're either incompetent or you just don't give a shit. At least you're treating your own people in the same way as you treated us. No discrimination, right? Let me guess, you would rather I took care of this.
I have 3 patients here who were gravely injured fighting those giant ants in the generator building a few days ago. I've stabilized their wounds, but they're in bad shape. Do you have medical training?
Well, I'm mostly self-taught, but surprise, surprise, most books out there don't usually say anything about treating injuries from giant ants. Let me think. You know, it might be your lucky day. I might not know how to treat these guys, but I know someone who does, and his people owe me a favor.
If what you say is true, you can do us a world of good.
Well, that's just great. Don't forget to tell Pearl that, and I won't tell her that you're nothing more than a lazy-ass pretender who's less concerned about these guys than me. And I honestly don't give a fuck. For your sake, pray that these guys are still alive by the time I get back. Good lord, those guys are not in good hands. He's not even wearing the proper attire, and yet he is carrying a grenade launcher. Priorities around here are utterly screwed. I mean, granted, none of the other doctors I've seen out there are that much more professional, but they're dealing with more patients with fewer resources. This guy doesn't have an excuse. So while Eddie and the others are probably passed out on a dirty mattress somewhere, we get the honor of paying the followers a little visit. And I can only assume the Silver Rush is now crawling with scavengers and possibly rats. Don't freak out, please. So while we're here, I guess we might as well find this girl. That guy was so cagey about this whole thing, he had to write down the Crimson Caravan on a piece of paper. Was he stalking her? I guess that's the only way you could describe this. No offense, lady, but you're not the one we're looking for. Okay, red hair, red hair. Why am I doing this at night? Now I feel like a stalker. I swear, if I get shot because of this, well, you better be the one, because I'm not spending all night doing this. No fucking way.
You should go talk to Blake or Alice. They handle most of our contact with visitors.
Oh, I have, and I'd rather not deal with them again, especially Alice. Well, you definitely have red hair, so that's a good start. This is gonna sound like it's coming out of nowhere, believe me. I'm still weirded out by it. But do you happen to watch over the boomers at Nellis in your spare time?
I watch all sorts of things with my binoculars. Who wants to know? And why?
Hey, don't get bitchy with me. I'm just a middleman. If you have a problem with all this, feel free to go to Nellis yourself and complain to those guys. Assuming that you don't get turned into a red mist on the way there, of course. Ask to see the assistant engineer, the younger one, okay? He'll probably pass out from all the built-up hormones. You've got a stalker, is what I'm saying.
Nice-looking blonde boy? I always wondered if he was watching me back. What's he like?
Oh, so you're stalking him in return. Wow, you two have a lot in common already. Congratulations. You could get each other a restraining order for Christmas. But yeah, that guy hasn't set foot outside Nellis his entire life, and he loses all upper brain function every time he thinks of you. I think that's all you need to know at this point.
Really? That's so sweet. I'd love to go meet him. Is there any way the boomers would let me visit Nellis?
Hey, I never said anything about them just letting you wander in. Start learning how to dodge artillery fire and you might get to the fence. Alternatively, I can speak to their leader and work something out, but don't you dare assume that's what I normally do for a living, okay? This is humiliating enough already.
This is so exciting. Let me know how it turns out.
Well, don't hold your breath. The boomers aren't exactly known for their openness. Oh, and no offense, but you might want to take a bath or something before you go. Working with Brahmins all day might make you smell a little funky, if you know what I mean. Not that I think the guy's gonna be that picky. He'll probably jump at you regardless. Well, hopefully that will be the last time I do something like this. Even if I have the spare time, I don't think a bachelor has the right to lecture other people about finding true love. That's like a vegetarian telling a chef how to cook meat. It just wouldn't work out that way. I'd love to see someone do that with the Ultra Lux chef, though. He would go insane. Speaking of which, I wonder if they got him out of that locker yet. I didn't tell Marjorie about it explicitly, but I figure if Philippe really is that important, they would have started looking for him almost immediately. Either that or the staff members don't want him to be found, which wouldn't surprise me at all. Oh man, back to Freeside. Hello again, Rusty Gate. Jesus. Yeah, I don't want to sound snobbish, but coming back here after seeing the strip is a bit jarring to say the least. Oh god, I don't think I want to know what this is about. You, keep up the good work. Yeah, there's no reason why pest control and starvation can't be solved at the same time, right? I guess that's okay as long as nobody catches a disease from eating that. Julie Farkas would have to drop the ball pretty hard to let that happen right outside her doorstep. Speaking of which, time to see if I can get her to lose a second staff member. Good evening, Dr. Farkas.
Great to see you again.
Oh, we'll see about that. Let's start with some good news. We'll like that, don't we? If my sources are correct, the Garrets will be sending their first batch of supplies shortly.
I'm honestly pleasantly surprised they would help us out. But I can see the Garrets aren't doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. Well, it looks like you've earned yourself a discount on supplies now that we'll be fully covered. This supply deal will aid our work immensely.
Well, here's the thing. You might want to rethink that offer, because I'm gonna need to take one of your doctors away on an extended trip to the north. Now hear me out, this is to help people. 3 in fact. They got attacked by ants, and the guy currently looking after them, well, let's just say they'll be dead by tomorrow morning. You know anyone who would fit the bill? What, there's a guy standing behind me who could do it? Well, that was straightforward.
Evening.
Sorry, not you, lady. What I need is... Oh, it's you. Well played, Julie. Well played.
Hello again. Still in one piece, I see.
Oh, you wouldn't be saying that if you saw some of the shit I got up to earlier today. Nothing can make you reconsider your own structural integrity quite as well as heavy explosives. Speaking of which, I'm gonna need you to come with me.
The last time we discussed this, you didn't exactly wow me with your pitch. What have you got for me this time?
How about a direct order from your boss? You guys owe me a lot of favors, and I'm cashing in. Still not good enough for you? Alright, let's try this. You and me are gonna teach a bunch of backwards thinking lunatics what people in the wasteland are capable of. And in a very roundabout way, this will make sure they don't bomb us to oblivion in the future.
That seems appropriately resolute and yet vague. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and go with you, but let me be clear about something. If you plan to help Caesar's Legion, this is going to be a brief relationship. I may not have all the answers for how to fix Freeside's problems, but Caesar taking control isn't part of the solution. Fair?
Oh man, you clearly have no idea how I operate. Let's just say those guys and I are not on the best of terms, and leave it at that, okay?
A courier, doctor, and a cybernetic dog. After we deal with the whole imminent conquest of New Vegas problem, we should open an act at the tops.
I'm not exactly a mercenary, but taking out scumbags of this magnitude wouldn't cause me to lose any sleep.
Whoa, you just went straight to psycho mode in less than a minute. The Legion pisses you off that badly too, huh? I can work with that. And who knows, stick with me for a bit after this, and you might see for yourself just how much we don't get along.
Hey, you're the one who's been going around helping people around here, right? The king says to keep up the good work, and said to give you this.
Sure. Yeah, as you can see, I already have quite a reputation around here. It's kind of creepy, actually. I should warn you right now, if you're gonna travel with me, then don't expect a smooth ride. Shit happens around me, and they happen with disturbing frequency. And it's only gonna get weirder now that everyone knows I've been inside the Lucky 38. Just ask my other traveling buddies when you meet them, they can testify. Oh boy, here we go again. Come on, God. Damn.
I have to say, I don't understand where you're going with Mr. House. The man's been manipulating the locals for as long as anyone can remember.
Well, that's perfect, because I'm not from around here, so I wouldn't know a damn thing about that. That's probably part of the reason he wants me to work for him in the first place, now that I think about it.
If you help him kick the NCR and Legion out, he's going to keep right on doing it. The people in Freeside will be just as bad off as they ever were.
What, you think it'll be better if I let the NCR take over instead? Look, I don't know if you've seen how they operate outside of Freeside, but let's just say those other outposts aren't gonna let this region take away the title of most screwed up administration without a fight.
Helping the NCR is better than helping Mr. House, but I don't think it's the best solution for the people in New Vegas.
No shit!
If the NCR can take full control of Freeside and the Strip, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Besides, even if New Vegas eventually gets representation in the NCR Senate, It's not like the NCR runs efficiently.
Well, I'm not exactly a politician, even though I seem to know more about diplomacy than most of the ones I've met so far. But I kind of guessed the NCR would be like that. So what the hell do you want for this place anyway?
If you can find a way to push Mr. House out of the picture as well, I think everyone will be better off.
Wow, you're crossing into some conspiracy territories here now. I knew you followers would have more of an agenda than you let on. Well, if it's any consolation, I don't think you would favor that outcome quite so much if you knew what I know. You think these people won't screw themselves over? Oh, you poor little lamb. Stick with me and you'll see just how silly you are. And no offense, but you're pretty opinionated for a doctor. And before you throw that question back at me, know that I already got myself very involved with every faction and settlement I've come across so far. But who are you? What makes you the expert on all this?
I'm really very boring. You'd get better stories out of a Freeside junkie.
So I ask again, what makes you the expert? While you're thinking about that...
Jumping Jesus on a pogo stick. You're the first one to make it through alive, let alone manage a return trip.
Yeah, and I bet you saw a hell of a light show. Now, I'll be honest, I was not impressed by how I didn't see you here when I came out of there a little while ago. Do I sense that you're trying to avoid me? Because that would be a bad attitude. Do you want to give me my money now, or should I start waving my gun around?
Yep. Here are your caps.
Ah, 600, was it? Well, here's the problem. My friends and I got pretty roughed up along the way, and we all know how much medicine costs. On a completely unrelated note, did you know the boomers can totally bomb this spot right here if they just altered their trajectory by a tiny bit? If only they knew about that.
You drive a hard bargain. Here you go. Have a nice day.
Hey now, no need to be like that. It's business. And yes, I'm totally aware that you wouldn't approve. But if you have a problem with that, you could just leave right now. So, are you gonna answer my earlier question, or are you gonna try to deflect it using Freeside junkies again?
No, really. Have you ever snorted a ground-up Cazador venom sac? Neither have I. But I can guarantee you that a Freeside junkie has.
And that, children, was how that conversation ended.